Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I am here today to talk about Personal Shopper for 31 Days of Horror 2019. I am super excited about talking about this movie. I think because the last time I tried to do 31 Days of Horror back in 2017, it was the movie that stopped. It was the last one I tried before I failed doing 31 Days of Horror that time. I only got through 3 films, and nothing against the film. I did enjoy the movie. It was just not the best year to try and do 31 Days of Horror. So this year I'm actually doing things a little bit differently, hopefully more successfully. And I actually finished watching the movie 2 years later, so that feels like a success, right? Let's take a look at some of the details. So this is from writer-director Olivier Assayas. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And the cast is primarily Kristen Stewart, but also includes Sigrid Bouaziz, Lars, Eidingre, and Ty Olsen. Wow. Olwin. Horrible pronunciation day. Let's just get over that. I will leave, as always, description in the description box below. The director cast, a link to IMDb and Letterboxd, all that good stuff. So if you are looking for the details, that is where to go. And this did the festival circuit in 2016, and then had a theatrical release in 2017. I think it was still a limited theatrical release, and I'm not surprised. I'm guessing that I ended up seeing it first on Netflix, and it was on Netflix in 2017, and I did watch it on Netflix. Here we are in 2019. I would put this in the genre more of drama slash thriller than horror. I am going to talk about that a little bit, just more generally, because I think this is one that sort of is a little challenging to classify. I am happy I included it. For me, this is definitely, I like to have movies like this in the mix when I'm watching lots of horror movies. This one, I guess technically it is horror, but it's not. It's a much more atmospheric and dramatically paced and just a different tone. So it's one where I would actually say you probably have to be a fan of both the drama and horror to like it. If you are solely a horror fan, I don't know if you would like this. And if you're solely a drama fan, I don't know if you would like this, because it does combine both things. And I wouldn't necessarily say it's a thriller. It's not like an action, adventure, or political intrigue thriller, but the pacing, ooh, and the tension, definitely, but it tonally is much more quiet than a lot of other films that I'm sure that I will watch this year for 31 Days of Horror. I did enjoy this movie. I gave it an 8 out of 10 or a 4 out of 5, and I gave it a heart. It is definitely getting a heart on Letterboxd. I wasn't quite sure. I almost considered giving it a 3.5, and I kept on going back and forth, but I do think for me it is a 4. So if you're unfamiliar with this one is even just hard to talk about what the plot is. Kristen Stewart plays, her character is a personal shopper for someone who is, I think she's a model, or she's just a very high profile person. And so she does a lot of and it's set in Paris, so she does a lot of running around and picking up clothes and dropping off clothes and doing sort of personal errand type stuff for someone else. But then there's this whole other spooky supernatural vibe to it as well. We get some creepy house stuff, and we get some other stuff. I hate to say it, but even though these tend to be more on the spoiler side of things, I actually do not want to say what the plot is, because I didn't know what this was about, and I loved not knowing. So I'm gonna say, if you like drama and horror, just watch it, because it was I thought it was really good, and it's a bit more, I want to go as far to say experimental, or I don't know if I would even go as far to say it's avant-garde, but it is more atmospheric, it is more slow, the pace is intentional, the pacing, I think it's always intentional, it should hopefully always be intentional, but it's a quieter film, but it is an emotional film, and it is an intense film, and I liked not knowing what it was about. And this is definitely one where as I said, I don't want to say too much about it. It is one where I wouldn't necessarily say that it is scary. I did have moments where I was where I jumped. I did have moments where I wasn't sure what was going on. I did have moments where the tension was really raw, or really thick, or really intense, And so I would say the engagement level was high, and it was high for most of it, but it definitely has a lot more quieter moments. It has moments where, you know, you're just sort of like with the character in settings and stuff like that, and it's not trying to push you at every second. It's not trying to trick you out. It's not trying to do any of those things. It's more of an emotional, uh, slow burn, emotional roller coaster, and with intensity. And I actually thought, like, I really I'm really, really happy that I came back to it after, you know, it took 2 years, but I'm really glad that I came back to it and ended up finishing it, because I really did enjoy it. And there was just, I feel like we don't get that many atmospheric drama, you know, like just films like this, because I think often when you're trying to hold that kind of energy, that kind of tension for that long, it can fall flat. It can be, people can find it boring or uninteresting. For me, I found it was very engaging. I was always curious, and maybe that's because I didn't know what it was, like, I didn't know what it was about. Like, so I was always trying to figure out, is it this? Is it that? What's this mean? Why is she there? Who's that? Who are this? What's this relationship? So I found it very engaging, not to say that it was confusing or anything. I found it engaging to think about and try and figure out what was going on. So that was a bit of an extra level, that I think helped. But yeah, I don't know if I wouldn't technically, did I get scared throughout the movie at different times, several times? Yeah, I did. Is that the main theme? I wouldn't say so. Like, but it's pretty close. Like, it's pretty close. Like, so yeah, so it's a bit of a different one. But I really enjoyed it. And as I said, for me, I like to have movies that are different tones and different paces, and different sort of fringe, you know, the fringes of horror. And it's hilarious that the fringe of horror is drama. Although I do now wonder, I was thinking recently about wondering if all really truly good horror movies are actually also good dramas. And I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that. I'm still going to continue to think on that. But this one I do think is successful, in terms of a drama and the tone and the atmosphere. So for me, that made it a huge win. And I think for some people, they won't get into it, and that's fine. Everyone's different. But for me, it was a big win. I'm really glad that I ended up finishing it, and it was really cool to see. And it's also pretty rare to have a film that almost only has like one, like, it really is Kristen Stewart, like, for like almost the entire time. And there are other characters and there are other actors, and she is in public a lot of this time, but there is a sort of lonely quality to the fact that you're really mostly seeing her and not a lot of other engagement, even though she can often be surrounded by people. And I think that is one of the sort of themes or sub-themes, if sub-themes are a thing, of the film, and I think it works rather successfully. So yeah, so for me, I was really happy that I watched it, and let me know if you have seen it or if you would consider watching it. This one I think was spoiler-free, so when there's fun in talking spoilers, and there's fun in trying to keep things spoiler-free. For me, I definitely thought it was important to go spoiler free on this one, because I enjoyed my experience of watching it from that perspective. So let me know, have you seen it? Did you enjoy it? Are you going to consider watching it? Are there other movies of this vibe that you would recommend? Because it's definitely one that I enjoyed. Okay, thank you so much for watching.